Chapter 11, Conjecture, Reasoning, Verification. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's wrong? Looking at Guancher Ning flying towards him, the sect leader sent out a greeting. You are so old, why can't you be more steady like Rongrong? Manager Ning took a breath, pulled Han Tao aside, and began to explain. Han Tao just talked about ways to improve your physical fitness. Yeah. Ning Fengji snorted. He said there are two types of treatment. Deep treatment involves microscopic treatment and heals the meridians. He would rather take care of things and avoid the easy ones, and did not answer the question of how to improve his physical fitness. What? Ning Fengji shouted. It involves microscopic things and heals the meridians. Is this true? He asked loudly. It has not been verified yet, Sect Master, Manager Ning explained quickly, with a trace of cold sweat on his forehead, secretly hoping that what Han Tao said was true. At this time, Han Tao spoke. Yes, Sect Leader Ning, the first soul skill I chose, fluorescence, is a kind of treatment involving microcosms. Has it been tested? Han Tao nodded and continued to add, before obtaining the soul ring, I cut off the hoof of a grey wolf and tested 3 healing soul beasts, namely fluorescent grass, begonia flower, and sunshine sunflower. Among them, begonia flower and sunflower flower have no repairing effect on tendons. Of course, the factor of insufficient vintage cannot be ruled out. The fluorescent grass has a therapeutic effect on the hoof meridians, so I chose fluorescent grass as my first soul ring. After hearing Han Tao's clear answer, Ning Fengji somewhat believed what he said and continued to ask. Have you continued testing after becoming a soul ring? Han Tao continued to nod. Fluorescence can restore microscopic parts of the body, but when it comes to the impact on the meridians, there is no experimental sample and no test. Yeah. Ning Fengji's tone gradually became gentle. Now, release your soul skills on me. Han Tao summoned his martial spirit and released his first soul skill, fluorescence. A weak light of soul power was transmitted towards Ning Fengji's body. Ning Fengji frowned when he saw the weak light. He began to feel the meridians in his body and the effect produced by the soul skill. For a soul master of my level, the effect of your soul skills is extremely weak. Maybe you can get a little bit of help only by using it for a long time. But it is undeniable that your theories and discoveries have huge strategic significance. Ning Fengji sat down, waved to Manager Ning, and gave instructions. According to the rules set before, if there are contributions, our Qibao glazed sect will not be stingy with rewards. I will teach him the secret method of controlling distraction. After speaking, Ning Fengji turned to look at Han Tao again. This is the secret method of our sect and cannot be passed on to others. Remember it, remember it. This is certain, almost all sect secret laws have such rules. After Han Tao left, Ning Fengji burst out laughing in the hall. I'm afraid this kid doesn't know the value of this information, but I used something that I was going to teach him to get rid of. Ning Fengji was sitting casually on a chair, holding a copy of Happiness and Anger Beyond Color in her hands. She had no image at all. Dad, what makes you so happy? Suddenly, a little potato rushed in from behind the door. It was Ning Rongrong. Seeing Ning Rongrong, Ning Fengji stroked her hair casually, messing up Ning Rongrong's hair. I met an interesting guy today. Then whispered softly. Deep treatment can heal meridians. With this healing soul skill, it means that the cost of developing meditation methods has been greatly reduced. Furthermore, when a soul master practices, his meridians will be more or less damaged. It's just a difference in amount, and these will affect the potential. Manager Ning walked in from the door, saw Ning Fengji's movements, and whispered to his ear. Douluo will come over soon, if he finds out that you messed up Rongrong's hair. Ning Fengji's laughing expression instantly subsided and he glanced at the door suspiciously, then he quickly smoothed the hair on Rongrong's head. But his technique may be relatively unfamiliar, and Ning Rongrong's hair became even more messy. Ning Fengji was a little nervous. Is it the new kid named Han Tao? Ning Rongrong raised her eyes and opened her mouth to ask. How old are you? You call me a brat. Ning Fengji laughed and scolded. Is he an auxiliary soul master? Lon Yin Chao, I should forget about it. Suddenly, Ning Rongrong showed a mischievous expression and let out a sly smile. Dad, since he is an auxiliary soul master, shouldn't we prepare an auxiliary study list for him as an admission gift to our Seven Treasures glazed sect? After hearing Ning Rongrong's words, the guards at the door couldn't help but take half a step back. Little witch, are you serious? Ning Fengji guessed Ning Rongrong's intention, but he did not object and acquiesced to his daughter's conditions. Under the instructions of the little witch Ning Rongrong, the elder of the palace guard quickly sorted out the auxiliary study book list and handed it to Han Tao. What is this? Han Tao jumped up. Oh my god! Estimated combat power level of each martial spirit level is just one of the auxiliary study lists. On top of the auxiliary study list, there are almost strict requirements for auxiliary soul masters: real-time gain. Real-time gain does not mean mindlessly increasing the strength or agility of teammates. The soul power of auxiliary soul masters is limited. We need to use limited soul power to maximize the gain effect. For example, when a strong attack soul master launches an attack, it includes offensive actions, hit timing, and tail swing. The offensive action gives speed blessing to ensure the hit. Before the hit timing is triggered, the attack gain is provided to expand the damage effect. Defensive soul skills should not be stationed on teammates all the time. The most appropriate time is before teammates are injured, to apply short-term and high-intensity defensive soul skills to reduce the damage and soul power consumption. Real-time gain requires different gain strategies according to different types of soul masters. Corresponding book list: Splitting of attack stages of strong attack soul masters, 16 methods of gain schemes for strong attack soul masters at each stage, 7 major auxiliary means for quick attack soul masters. Key points: Control. Control includes 3 parts, namely perception, calculation, and control. Perception is to obtain data samples of the battle situation, calculation is to judge and select the best strategy, and control represents the execution of the strategy. All 3 are indispensable. Calculation is the core of the auxiliary. By understanding the combat level, force and agility distribution, combat habits, and soul ring skills of teammates and enemies, using the data of the battle situation as samples and the verified theory as formulas, a large number of calculations are used to deduce the direction of the battle and guide the battle situation to expand the advantage. Recommended books: Soul Ring Attack Analysis, Elemental Properties and Characteristics, Force. The control part includes multiple forms such as gain, treatment, purification, isolation, control, weakening, and linking. The first is adding corresponding status and the second is commanding teammates what to do. Therefore, information transmission is the core of the control part. Chapter 12: Gravity Training. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ning Fengji has an almost demanding sensitivity to numbers. Han Tao only read the catalog of this so-called auxiliary study book list and understood how difficult it was. The real-time gain itself is disgusting enough, and then there is the distraction control method, that is, you need to provide teammates with various gains at the same time and in multiple threads. This is extremely demanding for personal computing power, judgment, and numerical sensitivity. By the way, Han Tao turned to the end of the book list. The content above is getting more and more outrageous. It says that the ultimate control of the field is the birth of the digital dimension field, turning the past into the known. Based on the deduction of reality, the development of the world is like observing the lines on the palm. The actual record shows that 7 peak Douluo fought against the storm god, and 3 died and the god fell. What a boast! Han Tao closed the book page. He didn't believe this. In this Douluo continent where the great power belongs to oneself, it is ridiculous and absurd for mortals to want to fight against the gods, but this does not affect his respect for the first half of this book list. Will Ning Rongrong be able to do this? Han Tao was a little surprised. He had also read the original novel, but had never found Ning Rongrong to have such an outrageous operation. Could it be that Master and Tang San led her astray? A support-type soul master gave up the pursuit of control, and only emphasized self-protection. Perhaps in their eyes, Ning Rongrong is just a pendant. However, Han Tao was still a little confused. Why was Ning Fengji's performance in the original novel so unbearable? It can't be said to be unbearable, but compared with the description in the book list, the two are far from each other. Suddenly, a terrible possibility was conceived in his mind. Whether Qian Renxue wins or Tang San wins, he is the beneficiary. Ning Rongrong has obtained the chips to determine the victory. Soon, Han Tao restrained his thoughts. This is just his guess, and guesses are always just guesses. Besides, he doesn't think Ning Fengji is that awesome. This is Xiao Yuan, a level 54 strong attacking soul master. His fourth soul skill is called gravity suppression, which can double the gravity on the enemy. On the training ground in the center of the mountain range, Manager Ning found an extremely strong middle-aged man. He introduced him to Han Tao. This is Han Tao. After Han Tao became a soul master, he could receive gold soul coins from the spirit hall every month, and money could improve his food. At this moment, Han Tao was not thin, but compared with Xiao Yuan, he was far behind. Since it is the sect master's order, I will naturally complete the task. Tell me, what do you need? His voice was neither humble nor arrogant. Even though he looked down on Han Tao in his heart, he did not show it on his face. I need your gravity soul skill to assist me in my practice. Xiao Yuan nodded, and he stretched out his hands to summon his own spirit. Violent Bear, possess. Bear-type martial spirits can easily acquire gravity skills. This part is studied in detail in 16 methods for gaining power in each stage of strong attack soul masters. Han Tao has read it once. Now seeing Xiao Yuan's Violent Bear, it just confirms the knowledge in the book. Fourth soul skill, Giant Lizard 1000 weight. Xiao Yuan's soul power and gravity were transmitted from a distance. Han Tao could feel that his body was under a strong pressure, like a shackle that bound his fate. The increase in gravity is not the same as carrying equipment. The pressure brought by gravity will penetrate into every cell and every muscle tissue in the body. Bang. Reduce some strength. Han Tao shouted hurriedly. Hearing Han Tao's anxious voice, Xiao Yuan smiled slightly and slowed down the output of soul power flow. Xiao Yuan's soul power pressure just now actually broke through Han Tao's soul power level. At this moment, Han Tao's soul power level has reached 13. This situation often occurs in the original novel. When a high-level soul master oppresses a low-level soul master with his aura, it is easy to break through the level under the suppression of soul power. In essence, it is because the high-level soul master brings a stronger soul power impact. This soul power impact widens the meridians of the low-level soul master, thereby promoting his level to rise. However, this is not without cost. Other people's soul power oppression. Regardless of whether your body can bear it, these soul power impacts will damage the tiny capillaries and capillaries while widening your meridians. Damage to capillaries will help the recovery of the body, but the capillaries are damaged, so this is essentially a kind of compensation, squeezing one's own potential in exchange for an increase in soul power level, like Tang San, who has innate full soul power plus Xiantian Gong. He doesn't lack that little potential. So it doesn't matter at all. Han Tao can also ignore these, because his first soul skill is deep treatment, which can repair his capillaries. That's enough. This is about the intensity. Keep going. At Han Tao's request, Xiao Yuan kept increasing or decreasing his soul power output, and was finally stopped by Han Tao at a certain appropriate position. Gravity penetrated all parts of Han Tao's body, including his skin, muscles, bones, meridians, and internal organs. It can be clearly felt that the internal organs' ability to withstand gravity is far less than other parts, which once affected Han Tao's training effect. Han Tao did not have any exercises to train his internal organs, and he did not even have the common body training exercises, so he could only use those common training methods. But his physical training effect is better than that taught by Yu Xiaojiang. Zhao Wuji's gravity field has never been used by Yu Xiaojiang for physical training. The master's teaching has 3 strategies: running, and weighted running. Exercise, treatment, and food supplements correspond to each other. Han Tao actually couldn't figure out why Shrek Academy, with its food environment and medical support, could conduct high-load training. In a month, Han Tao's physical fitness broke through the 10 mark. This panel attribute is already the median level of the 10th level Haotian hammer, but his soul power and mental power are still weak, no different from ordinary blue silver grass soul masters. At this moment, Han Tao encountered some small problems. Xiao Yuan had some opinions about him, because Han Tao's training required him to use the 4th soul skill for a long time. This is obviously an insult to a level 55 combat soul master, because Han Tao's soul power level and combat effectiveness are very weak. Han Tao is not Ning Rongrong, and he doesn't have a noble status. Why should he assist him in training like this? It's unfair, so damn unfair. Han Tao's senses are quite sharp, and he sensed Xiao Yuan's opinion of him. Xiao Yuan was restricted by the order of the sect master and could not directly refuse him, but he could do something weird. For example, when using soul skills, the soul power output fluctuated, making it impossible for him to exercise properly, or, after using soul skills for a while, he said he needed to rest and recover, wasting the time of 2 people. We must do something. Although such a situation has not occurred yet, if he does not do something, the future is uncertain. Chapter 13 Exchange. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. 7 Treasures Glazed Sect, Training Ground. Ning Fengji stood in the middle of the training ground, with sword Douluo and bone Douluo on his left and right. Ning Tian. The sect master named a name. This seemingly solemn ceremony is the annual assessment of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect, and its core content is to test the sect's disciples. The main contents of the assessment include soul power level, theoretical reserves, and secret learning. Han Tao has been in the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect for less than half a year, but after this assessment, it means that 4 years have passed since Han Tao came to this world. Have you lived like a dog this year? There is no fluctuation in the soul power level. Even if you go to Xingdou Forest to catch a hen, the soul power growth is greater than yours. What's the theory? Tell me what this is. I don't blame you for not being able to beat the soul beast. You can't even recognize it. What the hell is the chrysanthemum beast? Is there such a soul beast in Douluo continent? All day long, you know how to go to the club to soak your feet. Why, will your hooves swell up when you are out of water? Han Tao was trying to hold back his laughter. He turned his head and looked around, and found that many people were trying to hold back their laughter. These sect members are all talented people. They like to hear others being scolded, but they are afraid of being scolded themselves. Ning Tian lowered his head and didn't dare to look at Ning Fengji's big face. Manager Ning, cut his salary in half next year. Little brat, I'll let you soak your feet. Ning Fengji walked out of the host seat and kicked Ning Tian's butt. After driving him out of the door, he called out the next person's name. Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong came out from behind Han Tao and walked timidly in front of Ning Fengji. Fuck, how come there is a Rongrong hiding here? Han Tao didn't notice Ning Rongrong behind him until she came out. Ning Rongrong, a level 21 Great Soul Master. After Ning Rongrong finished the test, Ning Fengji straightened his face, but there was a little disappointment in his expression. With a talent of innate level 9 soul power, it only increased by 4 levels of soul power in 1 year, and 1 level was the growth of soul rings. Ning Rongrong, tell me, have you practiced well in this year? Even when facing his daughter, Ning Fengji still didn't have a good face. His tone gradually became colder and his tone gradually became higher. Ning Rongrong made a wronged expression. The fists of Jian Douluo and Gu Douluo hardened. After the two looked at each other, a cold aura pointed directly at the sect master in front of the stage. Ning Fengji turned his head and looked at Jian Douluo and Gu Douluo, but found that they were looking up at the dome of the training ground, as if they didn't know what happened. When he turned to look at Ning Rongrong again and was about to continue to accuse her, the cold aura appeared again. Ning Fengji sighed helplessly, and then said to Ning Rongrong calmly, Ning Rongrong, go down, and practice well next year. After speaking, Rongrong looked at Jian Douluo, made a naughty expression, and then jumped away. Old bone, Rongrong's expression just now was made to me. As soon as Ning Rongrong left, Jian Douluo turned to show off to Gu Douluo, as if the two old men were sharing joy, and even used the secret method of sound transmission. Humph. Get carried away. Douluo snorted coldly, turned his head to the side, pretending not to hear Douluo's sound transmission, so, Chen Xin repeated it again. Okay, I know. After Gu Rong replied, he left angrily, leaving only a group of stunned shrimps. Yes, Gu Rong's response this time did not use the secret method of sound transmission. Next, Chao Yuexian, that there are not many members in the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, and they finished the test soon. The last member to be tested was Han Tao, who had recently joined. Han Tao, a level 14 Soul Master. That's right, Han Tao has broken through another level of soul power in this month. Although this seems outrageous, it is full of rationality. High-level soul power pressure can widen the meridians and improve the soul power level, but it will reduce the upper limit of talent, and widening the meridians is directly equivalent to improving the talent for cultivation, so soul power pressure can both improve and reduce talent. The two seem to conflict but are actually reasonable. Han Tao's first soul skill, Deep Treatment, eliminates the reduction of cultivation talent caused by the damage of capillary meridians, and turns soul power pressure into a purely positive cultivation method. The soul power growth is good. How is your distraction control method? Ning Fengji was a little confused. Han Tao's cultivation speed was obviously abnormal, but he didn't care too much. Now I can use my mind for two purposes. Ning Fengji nodded and walked forward, patted Han Tao on the shoulder, and said with a smile. If you can complete the practice of the 7 functions of the mind within 3 months, I promise to give you a surprise. Han Tao performed all the etiquette and expressed his gratitude. Han Tao thanks you here, Sect Master Ning. As Han Tao thanked him, Ning Fengji stopped for a moment. He looked a little hesitant, as if he was considering something. Han Tao stayed where he was. If you have any research results on martial souls, spirit rings, spirit skills, or anything else, you can share them with the sect. Han boy, don't worry, the sect will never treat you unfairly. Looking at Ning Fengji's expression and demeanor, Han Tao couldn't help but think of the boss in his previous life, who painted a pie in the sky for his subordinates. Children are always easy to deceive, and the sect master's attitude is very sincere. Han Tao was moved and decided to give some of his results. As we all know, the innate soul power of a soul master is equivalent to the talent for cultivation. But according to my test, the actual talent for cultivation depends on the width of the meridians in the soul master's body and the degree of fit between the meridians and the soul power. The sect leader stood there, as if thinking and verifying Han Tao's theory. The soul master with high innate soul power has wider meridians in his body, and the higher the fit of the soul power. Han Tao simply proposed 2 concepts, and did not talk about how to widen the meridians at no cost, nor did he talk about how to improve the fit of soul power. These 2 concepts have yet to be verified, but since you proposed them, do you have any way to improve them? Han Tao did not answer. Ning Fengji saw Han Tao's expression and obviously had the answer. This little brat must know it. That's another price. What do you want? He was a little curious. Brother Xiao Yuan has assisted me in cultivation for so long, and he is grateful to me. I hope the sect can increase his salary and status. Ning Fengji was very surprised. As the sect leader of the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, he really didn't expect Han Tao to make such a request. In fact, Han Tao was helpless. Now his training and exercise all depended on Xiao Yuan's gravity soul skill. Once Xiao Yuan gave up, his growth would be stuck, which was undoubtedly very uncomfortable. Therefore, using 2 relatively important concepts to exchange for Xiao Yuan's favor seemed to be unequal in value, but for his current growth, this was a profitable exchange. Even if it meant taking out a way to improve the soul power compatibility, it was worth doing so. Chapter 14 Crouching Dragon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, I agree. Han Tao's request was not demanding. As the sect leader, Ning Fengji could easily improve someone's salary and status. Seeing the sect leader's promise, Han Tao did not hide anything and began to talk openly about the method of improving the compatibility of meridians. Why didn't he choose the method of widening the meridians? Because once this method was mentioned, Xiao Yuan's value would be greatly improved, and there would be some unexpected things at that time. Soul pressure can widen the meridians, but in terms of effect, it is far inferior to the synergy of gravity pressure and soul pressure. When the soul flows in the meridians, it will slightly increase the compatibility of the meridians and soul. Ning Fengji wrote down Han Tao's words and prepared to find someone to verify it. Before leaving, he suddenly told Han Tao something not so good. The elder guarding the temple has given you a list of supplementary study books, and there will be assessments for study. Starting from next year, the elder guarding the temple will test you every 2 months based on your study progress. The test is not to embarrass you. You can choose any type of study direction in the list. Han Tao breathed a sigh of relief. The test will start next year. Don't worry. It's still early. No, Han Tao's heart suddenly jumped. Tomorrow is next year. Ning Rongrong is not so kind. At this moment, this little witch finally showed her claws. If you fail, you will be locked up in a small dark room and forced to study. We all came here this way. Ning Fengji returned to the top of the tower, stopped where he was, and looked out from a high place, as if the entire Xingdou city was in his sight. Manager Ning. Hearing the call of the sect master, Manager Ning strode in. This is Han Tao's latest research. Go find a few newly awakened soul masters and verify whether there are any errors or omissions. It's not that Ning Fengji doesn't believe Han Tao, but in his eyes, any seemingly perfect and appropriate theory, even those recognized ones, need to be verified before they can be regarded as truth. There are so many soul masters in Douluo continent, why hasn't anyone found a way to increase the compatibility of soul power? Because if you want to discover a phenomenon, you need to have a definition first, and then observe it, and then you can get a conclusion. Why can Han Tao get the definition of soul power compatibility? Because in his research diary, he wrote dozens of guess definitions, and those that were successfully verified after data comparison became Han Tao's research results. In the following time, Han Tao became very busy. The distraction control method needs to be trained. Ning Fengji gave 3 months, and Han Tao also wanted to see what the so-called surprise in the mouth of the sect master is. The auxiliary research book list needs to be read, and there is an assessment every 2 months. If you fail the assessment, you will be locked in a small black room. It is definitely not possible. Physical strength and soul power need to be cultivated, and cultivation requires Xiao Yuan's assistance. For the 3rd month, I won't study the auxiliary study list, but will focus on distraction control method. I will get the surprise of the sect master first. If I can't pass the 4th month's assessment, I will be locked up in the small dark room. Humph, I'm not afraid. That when Xiao Yuan knew that his salary and status were improved because of this kid he always looked down on, a sense of guilt came over him. I really deserve to die. Whenever he thought of this, he wanted to slap himself. Han Tao, as the saying goes, great favors are not to be thanked. If you encounter any difficulties in the future, I will definitely help you. Xiao Yuan was very confident. He knew that Han Tao would need his help soon. Han Tao smiled and didn't take his statement seriously. He was a selfish person. He helped Xiao Yuan not to repay the favor, but to ensure the effective implementation of subsequent training, deep treatment and gravity compression, as a perfect combination of complementary early stages. The combination of the two gave Han Tao a cheating-like training speed. In 2 months, Han Tao's soul power broke through 1 level again and reached level 15. The joy of the breakthrough did not last long. Because the elder guarding the hall found Han Tao, and he remembered that the test once every 2 months mentioned by Ning Fengji was coming. This test was presided over by the elder guarding the hall alone. If he said that he would not pass, then he would not pass. If he said that he would be locked up in the small dark room, then he would be locked up in the small dark room. He. Ning Rongrong had been waiting here for a long time, and made some strange noises from time to time. She did not deliberately target Han Tao. She bullied every sect disciple equally. Every time this happened, there would be a group of unlucky people who had to accept the assessment of the elder guarding the hall. I don't know what Daddy is thinking. Can anyone really pass this weird and demanding assessment? Or, Daddy is using this to amuse himself. Yes, that's right. I discovered it. I'm such a genius. Grandpa Jian and Grandpa Gu, please call me the genius and invincible beautiful girl, Ning Rongrong from now on. Most of the direct members of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect are auxiliary soul masters. They came to the book collection pavilion one by one. Ning Tian, choose your theoretical learning direction. Han Tao met this young sect talent at the year-end assessment meeting and was very impressed. When Manager Ning introduced the annual assessment to him, he described the relevant assessment process, one of which was theoretical reserve, but at the year-end meeting, there was no form of assessment theory, and now he understood that the results of theoretical reserve came from the assessment of the elders guarding the hall. Han Tao, do you know that our sect didn't have the rule of shutting down students who failed the test in the past? This rule was added later. The disciples next to him passed on the sect's common sense to Han Tao. Oh, why? Han Tao's doubts were obviously what he wanted, and he quickly began to tell Han Tao about the legendary experience that led to the change of the rule. This has to start with a pair of crouching dragon and phoenix in our sect. Soon, Han Tao met the legendary Mr. Crouching Dragon. Ning Tian, a senior member of the Foot Bathing City, was the genius who was scolded by Ning Fengji at the year-end meeting. He has an extraordinary talent in theoretical reserves, and is the only one among many sect members who wrote essential oil as the characteristic of soul power. The fine-tuning work of one or two things about the imperial style was done by this genius. Awesome, awesome, I admire you. Amid the compliments of many disciples, Ning Tian won the first place in this theoretical test with a score of 24, with his head held high and proud. He was taken away by the elders and locked in a small dark room as expected, like a warrior who was ready to die. However, when Ning Tian came to a corner that no one could see, he immediately took off his disguise. Elder Ning, you have brought me up since I was a child. Ning Tian suddenly hugged the elder guarding the hall and shook him in his arms, playing the emotional card madly. You know me, I am not good at these theories. I don't want to be locked in a small dark room. The elder guarding the hall ignored his desire. His tone was flat and his attitude was cold. This is the rule, even I can't disobey it. If I let you go, what if others follow suit? The effectiveness of the sect's rules will be distorted. Chapter 15 The Prospects of Micromanagement. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Where there is a sleeping dragon, there must be a phoenix within 100 steps. Young men are strong, and their bodies are like mountains and rivers with a straight spine. What are you humming? Ning Rongrong's gloating was interrupted. No whispering. After the elder guarding the hall locked Ning Tian in the small dark room, he returned to the test site and started the next assessment. Han Tao thought that Ning Tian, the sleeping dragon, had performed well enough, but he didn't expect that there would be more explosive performance. After all, he underestimated everyone in the world. Assistant Soul Master, why do you need to increase the buffs for your teammates? You need to increase the buffs for your teammates because your teammates are not strong enough. Ning Rongrong even listed actual cases. As long as I bring Grandpa Jian and Grandpa Gu, I can win the battle even if I do nothing. The elder guarding the hall was silent for a moment, and didn't know how to refute for a while. But, Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo will become stronger with the assistance of the sect master. He asked Ning Rongrong again. Afterwards, Han Tao heard an even more explosive answer. Daddy gave Grandpa Sword and Grandpa Bone a boost, not to give them special effects, so that they are more conspicuous, and the presence of auxiliary soul masters can be reduced, so that the enemy will not attack them. Ning Rongrong said seriously, perhaps in her cognition, the answer is like this. After all, who dares to attack her first when sparring with the members of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect? Aren't they afraid of trouble from the two great gods? The expression of the guarding elder was very speechless. After giving Ning Rongrong a score of 26, he took her to the small black room. Still the same. Ning Rongrong muttered on her little face, without resistance or shouting, and walked into the small black room quietly. Is it very unexpected? A member next to him talked to Han Tao again, and Han Tao looked at him and nodded involuntarily. If you fail the exam, you will be locked up in the small black room. This is the sect rule and no one can violate it. However, the title Douluo of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tiles sect has the authority to summon the sect disciples. This is also the sect rule. If you have the power, please use the sword Douluo or bone Douluo of our Seven Treasures Glazed Tiles sect, and they can naturally bail you out of the small black room. Is that so? So, this so-called small black room punishment is useless to them, the dragon and the phoenix? On the contrary, it is us ordinary disciples who are in trouble. Han Tao's doubts were answered in the affirmative, but what Han Tao did not expect was that this disciple looked at the problem much more clearly than himself. The sect master actually knows, but at the same time the sect master tacitly agrees that when you are weak and powerless, the sect's rules are not a constraint, but a protection for the weak. If you have the strength of a soul Douluo, if you have a key mission, or if you have the status of the sect master's daughter, you can ignore this rule. If not, then study according to the rules and pass the assessment with dignity. Hearing the new answer, Han Tao's face became formal, and he looked seriously at this unknown sect disciple. I haven't asked for your name yet, that he casually arched his hands and smiled. I am Xiefeng. After reporting his name, he walked forward to face the elder guarding the hall and began his own assessment. 60 points, passed. Soon, Xiefeng's score was reported by the elder guarding the hall, causing an uproar among the members below. Finally, someone has passed. It's really not easy. This time, Brother Xiefeng was able to pass, thanks to the efforts of the elders guarding the hall. Han Tao couldn't help but twitch his mouth after hearing this. Indeed, the elders guarding the hall were responsible for the entire assessment. Xiefeng's score was exactly 60, which seemed to be a lot of effort from the elders guarding the hall. Xiefeng, surnamed Shui, seems to be related to the royal family of the Tiando Empire. The surname Shui is not simple. At present, except for the royal family of the Tiando Empire, there are few ordinary families with the surname Shui, and they are in the place of Qibao Liuli sect. It didn't take long for Han Tao to hear his name. Following the rules, Han Tao walked forward and faced the elders guarding the hall. Han Tao, you have been in the sect for half a year. Today I will test what you have learned. If you fail to meet the relevant requirements, don't blame the elders for being ruthless. Tell me, what are the main directions you have studied in the past 6 months? The auxiliary study book list covers a very wide range, so ordinary sect disciples will choose some fields to study. Control field, branch, the main research book is muscles, strength, and external actions. Han Tao chose a book that mainly talks about observing the changes in human muscles and speculating the transmission of force in the human body, which will form corresponding actions, attacks, and defenses. This is a very practical category. If Han Tao can feel the changes in the enemy's body, he can calculate the enemy's next move based on the formula in the book, so as to dodge and counter in advance. Hearing Han Tao's choice, the elder guarding the hall nodded in approval and asked. When a soul master runs, how do the muscles and strength in the body work? After thinking for a while, Han Tao answered slowly and word by word. When a soul master is running, the arm muscles and waist and abdominal muscles are used for balance. I won't go into details. The leg muscles are composed of soleus and peroneus brevis. The force ratio is 7:4 to 4:3, and the force is transmitted over time. Different force ratios are presented at different times. The following is a force analysis curve. The force of one leg drives the body forward, and the legs are staggered to complete a cycle. The visible muscle changes are that the elder guarding the hall gave Han Tao a score of 61. Obviously, Han Tao's qualification this time did not use his efforts. In fact, Han Tao still has a lot to say, because after mastering the muscle rules, there is too much room for operation. For example, when a soul master is running, the muscles of one leg are transmitted to the trunk. At the moment when the old force is exhausted and the new force is not yet generated, only a small force is needed to destroy the balance of the soul master's body and make him fall. For example, when Tang San is practicing the chaotic cloak hammer method, the time when the hammer hits and collides is also the beginning of the next round of chaotic cloaks. At this time, if a little seasoning is added to the hammer's return force to make the feedback force deviate, you can imagine what will happen. Therefore, This theory has an infinitely high upper limit under the domain, and its strength depends entirely on the soul master. This is the control of microscopic power, and it is also an offensive means for auxiliary soul masters. If Han Tao has the soul power level of Ning Rongrong in the original work, cultivates the distraction control method to the extreme, and fully understands and masters the game micromanipulation, he can easily kill the Shrek team by participating in the National Elite Soul Master competition at this level, even if he is alone, even if he is just an auxiliary soul master. Make it disordered when the power is initiated, and deflect it when the power ends. This is quite terrifying, because you are not sure whether the power will attack your teammates under the micromanipulation of others, and the defensive actions of teammates are suddenly disordered, and they will face a life-and-death crisis just once. Suddenness and abnormality are the essence of microscopic power. It's like the feeling of a child practicing table tennis when facing a spin ball for the first time. Other soul masters, if they want to deal with this kind of power manipulation, must conduct anti-interference training of auxiliary soul skills. Only then will they have the opportunity and possibility to make a slight counterattack against the power of this dimension. Chapter 16 Distraction Control Cluster Convergence. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 16 Distracted Control, Convergence. The upper limit of micromanipulation is very high, but it is not easy to practice. First of all, human skin is the first barrier. You can't judge the transmission of muscle power in the enemy's body through the naked eye. To understand the transmission process of the enemy's muscles, either use yourself as a benchmark and make an estimate through long-term experience, or find additional means of perception. Secondly, it requires extremely demanding control from the soul master. Your amplification soul skill needs to penetrate the enemy's soul power blockade, drive the most appropriate amplification at the most critical position and the most ingenious time, and break the integrity of the enemy's movements. This is difficult, this is quite difficult. However, Han Tao also has a unique advantage in this regard. The blue-silver grass has the lowest growth base, extremely weak martial soul strength, and can only be used for healing, but it has a very expensive point, perception. The perception of the blue-silver grass almost surpasses all the martial souls in this world. Han Tao can feel the acupoints and the soul power compatibility. In fact, a large part of the reason comes from the perception provided by the blue-silver grass. In the field control theory, the perception attribute is a prerequisite for field control, and is one of the three core elements. Theory is theory, and theory needs to be verified by practice to have value. I don't have the need for practice now. In fact, Han Tao has put forward many theories, but none of them have the conditions for practice. For example, Han Tao has discovered the power of acupoints a long time ago, but he is not qualified to study it in depth now. The same is true for microcontrol. Han Tao doesn't even have an amplification soul skill now. How can he practice it? Well, let's put it aside for now. With a slight sigh, Han Tao turned his attention to the present. In 3 months, Han Tao practiced the distraction control method to the 5th level, which is still 2 levels away from Ning Fengji's requirements. It seems that I can't get the surprise from the sect master. Strictly speaking, Han Tao's 5 levels of distraction are not very stable. When the mind is divided into 5 parts, each branch is very easy to make mistakes, let alone think about complicated operations and thinking. I thought that this little difficulty would not be difficult for you, but it seems that I overestimated it. Ning Fengji's face trembled, and he almost couldn't control his expression. He quickly used the relevant skills of happiness and anger are not shown on the face. It is unreasonable to ask Han Tao to reach the extreme of distraction control method in 3 months, therefore, he will give a so-called surprise openly. In fact, Han Tao can't get it at all. What a joke. Do I, Ning Fengji, look like someone who will suffer a loss? Sect Master Ning, I didn't meet your requirements, but I am still very curious. What is the surprise you prepared? Ning Fengji's statement made Han Tao unsure whether he really prepared a surprise. Can you tell me? The question was very sudden, his face froze, and he almost lost his demeanor. What a joke. I, Ning Fengji, am not the cunning and cunning person you imagine. Don't slander me. Waving his sleeves, he took out a book inlaid with gold edges, Advanced Distraction Control Method, Convergence and Convergence. Han Tao understood that this book was the key to breaking through the 7th level of the distraction control method. Without this book, the distraction control method cannot be broken through, and Ning Fengji's reward cannot be obtained, and the reward is this book. This is a dead cycle. Damn, Ning Fengji is really a genius. Don't think too much. Even if you are given this secret book, you can't learn it. Only if I teach you hand in hand, you will have a chance to master it. This is the unique secret method of my 7 treasures glazed sect. Just as Han Tao and Ning Fengji were talking, a small figure jumped over. Dad, why did you take out this broken book again? Ning Fengji frowned instinctively. When he saw Ning Rongrong, he had to show an awkward smile. It's you. Ning Rongrong was very surprised. Han Tao passed the assessment of the elders guarding the hall with a high score of 61, and the score did not come from the elders' efforts. What's your name? She asked. Nonsense. Han Tao. With a silent squeak, Han Tao retreated behind the master. Ning Rongrong did not notice Han Tao's little move. She snatched the gold-rimmed secret book from Ning Fengji's hand and spoke with confidence. Han Tao, don't believe his lies. This broken secret book has been gathering dust in the library for a long time. Because no one reads it, my father gave it a gold border. Most of the theories in it are speculations, unverified, and may have very serious side effects. He is looking for mice for experiments. That if Han Tao stood in front of Ning Fengji at this moment, he would find that his expression was very speechless. Ning Rongrong was trying to undermine him, and he had no way to deal with it. If he dared to scold Ning Rongrong, the 2 big Buddhas would come to him the next day. Master Ning, is what she said true? Han Tao asked with his eyes wide open in disbelief. According to his emotional intelligence, he would not make such an irrational move, but Ning Rongrong was right beside him, so he had to make a statement now. If Ning Rongrong targeted him, according to her lawless character, he would be in trouble. At this moment, Ning Rongrong looked at Ning Fengji with a righteous look. Ning Fengji touched his chin, sat down on the chair awkwardly, then smiled and said to Han Tao kindly. Han Tao, first of all, I don't think of you as a guinea pig. The first 5 levels of the distraction control method are mainly about dispersion and expansion, and the last 2 parts are mainly about clustering and convergence, although they have not been verified. You have practiced the distraction control method for so long, you should know that you can't break through. In fact, it is essentially because your mental power is not enough, and clustering and convergence, although they have not been verified in detail, have been found to have the effect of improving mental power after testing. Whether you want it or not, it all depends on you. While talking, Ning Fengji came to Ning Rongrong's side and wanted to take back the gold-edged secret book, but Ning Rongrong held the secret book in her arms and refused to return it to Ning Fengji. Instead, she stared at Han Tao with wide eyes, waiting for his statement. Ning Fengji spread his hands, with a look of indifference on his face, as if he had Han Tao in his hands. Han Tao sighed deeply. After thinking for a while, I decided to play the emotional card to deal with the little girl. Ning Rongrong, I am very grateful for telling me the truth. Han Tao bowed deeply. But you also know that my martial soul is blue-silver grass. Without other help, I may not be able to break through level 20 in this life. So when this secret book appears, what does it mean to me? Maybe, this is my only hope to break through, even if it is so slim, even if it is unverified, even if it is full of mistakes, I must give it a try. Because for me, I have no choice at all. Chapter 17, Cunning and Shrewd. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ning Rongrong is still a little girl after all. No matter how naughty she is, her little head, even if she can't understand the hardships Han Tao said, is also moved by the sincerity at this moment. The book Advanced Distraction Control Method inlaid with gold stripes that Ning Fengji took out finally fell into Han Tao's hands. Thank you, Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong was at a loss and handed the secret method to Han Tao. Han Tao took it and a happy smile bloomed on his face again. Han Tao, is this book really so important to you? Ning Rongrong opened her eyes wide and stared at Han Tao, as if she wanted to read his emotions. Yes. A useless martial soul is not only slow in cultivation speed, but also lags behind normal soul masters in physical strength, soul power, and mental power at the same soul power level. This secret book may solve the defect of my mental power, so I have to try it anyway. Han Tao's will is very firm, and his steps follow his will, leaving here step by step. After a long time, the wind blew away Han Tao's scent and the serious atmosphere in the hall. Ning Fengji pulled Rongrong to his side and began to rub her hair. Rongrong, you ruined your father's plan this time. Ning Rongrong was a little confused after hearing this. Plan? What plan? Oh, yes, Ning Rongrong quickly thought of the answer. Your plan failed. He passed the assessment of the elders guarding the hall, but this has nothing to do with me. I didn't do anything, how can you blame me? Ah. Ning Fengji's face froze. That's not what I said. Originally, this time, I could get one of his theories for free, but you interrupted me. What? Rongrong jumped up in disbelief and screamed, Dad, you are the sect master now, why do you think about getting the disciples' theories for free all day long? Yes, Ning Fengji had long discovered that Han Tao's cultivation speed and physical growth speed were abnormal, it was too fast. In more than half a year, from the 12th level of soul power, it soared to the current 17th level. This is unreasonable, very unreasonable. If you can level up 5 times in half a year, you must level up 10 times a year, and 1 major stage a year. How can that be possible? Although it is easier to grow and level in the early stage, it is not as outrageous as Han Tao. It's not completely free, it's more like a transaction. I took out the secret method of the 7 treasures glazed sect in exchange for the theoretical results of his research. Mastering the platform of the sect, there are naturally all kinds of exploitation methods. The secret method of the sect can be exchanged for every sect disciple, but the theory of the disciple must be studied and verified bit by bit. In the long run, the sect will obtain more and more theoretical results. Why there are so many high-quality books in the library of the 7 treasures glazed sect is precisely because of this rule. Of course, in the process of trading between the sect and the disciples will not suffer losses. After all, they also get what they want. But, for a waste like Han Tao. Perhaps it means that his wording is inappropriate. Rongrong lowered the volume of his speech. What results has he achieved? It shouldn't be worth it for you to do this, Daddy. Looking at his silly daughter, she was really cute and stupid, so he could only shake his head helplessly. Low innate soul power does mean slow cultivation speed. This is common knowledge recognized by soul masters. But Han Tao is an exception. Look at his cultivation speed. Where is it slow? In 2 years, he may surpass you. Be more careful, Ning Rongrong. Ning Fengji said with regret. The little witch Rongrong looked aggrieved and looked outside the door with some entanglement. Daddy, you mean that Han Tao may have a way to improve his cultivation speed? Speaking of this, Ning Rongrong's eyes lit up, as if she was moved by her own intelligence. Then I'll go find him, he will definitely not dare to refuse me. No one knows a daughter better than her father. Ning Fengji couldn't hide the little witch Rongrong's thoughts from his eyes. Come back. He interrupted Rongrong's actions. Rongrong, you don't need to get involved in these things. Just practice hard. He will show it out after a while. Han Tao will always have a need in the 7 treasures glazed sect, and if there is a need but no capital, he will naturally show his research. Those theories will not escape, and sooner or later they will belong to the 7 treasures glazed sect. There is no need to be hostile to Han Tao. The advanced secret book of distraction control method is a very ridiculous conjecture. Distraction control, the main body is to divide one's own thinking into several parts, so as to think, operate, and use soul skills in multiple threads. This is still within the scope that mortals can understand, and it is a very practical secret method. The convergence part of the distraction control method not only includes the splitting of thinking, but more of the splitting of spirit, the spirit power of a soul master as a whole. Even if it is a specialized distraction control method, it uses a single spirit power at the same time to operate different soul skills in real time, but this secret book is outrageous. It requires the soul master to split his own spirit. The risks contained in it can be imagined. No wonder it is named after convergence and clustering. Once the mental power is split, whether it can be integrated is one thing. Even if it can be integrated, whether there are sequelae is another matter. After the mental power is split, which fragment will dominate the mind? Will different minds seize power? Will it lead to schizophrenia? And will the mental split have a negative impact on the body and soul power? These have not been verified. The idea of this secret book is not mature. It only writes about the methods of mental splitting and mental convergence, as well as various sudden death cases after mental splitting. There are many death cases, but there is no successful positive case. Han Tao read the whole secret method and gave up the idea of exploration. This level of secret method is not something he can get involved in at present. Even with the strong temptation to improve mental power, Han Tao still chose to give up. He did not think he was the protagonist. Trying this high-risk exploration is tantamount to selling one's head. Step by step, improving the soul power level is the kingly way. Han Tao. A voice came from a distance. Looking closely, it was the tiny Ning Rongrong. Are you lying to me? Ning Rongrong asked angrily. He took a half step back and asked in confusion, why is this? You just said that the innate soul power level will affect the speed of cultivation, but why is your soul power already level 17? Yes, Ning Fengji did ask Ning Rongrong not to interrogate Han Tao, but he couldn't control this little witch. Maybe he couldn't control her. Or maybe Ning Rongrong's behavior was already expected by the sect master. Just now, Ning Rongrong gave Han Tao the advanced secret method of distraction control, and now she came to ask for Han Tao's research results. What reason did Han Tao have to refuse? Repaying a favor with someone else. This is the conspiracy that Ning Fengji promoted. Ning Rongrong is different from herself. The little girl is innocent and can do anything weird. More importantly, Ning Rongrong's questioning is not utilitarian. She used Han Tao's deception of Ning Rongrong as an inducement to seize his research results. This reason is upright and majestic. It can be said to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. In the clan leader's residence, Ning Fengji held the book, not showing happiness or anger in his hand, but a smile appeared on his face. Chapter 18 Bottleneck. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Fine. Han Tao is young after all. This time he had no choice but to admit defeat. In desperation, he had no choice but to tell Ning Rongrong his method. You need to prepare pen and paper in advance. Don't expect anyone else to record it for you, because this kind of information is very confidential. Han Tao couldn't help but feel a little angry. He could guess that this was Ning Fengji's handiwork, but there was nothing he could do about it. If she was unhappy, Ning Rongrong would not want to be happy either, so she secretly gave her some obstacles. If she was unwilling to record it, then she would have a reason to shirk the matter. But soon, Han Tao was disappointed. Ning Rongrong sat aside obediently, with pen and paper ready to record. Although her behavior is a bit out of the ordinary, it does not mean that she has cerebral palsy. After all, she is still the successor of the Qibao glazed sect, and she will still treat the interests of the entire sect with caution. If she messed up this matter, even Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo wouldn't intercede for her. Among the innate soul powers, the core factors that influence the talent are the fitness of the soul power of the meridians and the width of the meridians. If the width of the meridians can be widened, a person's cultivation talent can naturally be increased. The soul power pressure of high-level soul masters can widen the width of the soul master's meridians, but it will cause damage to the capillary meridians. Therefore, the combination of deep treatment and soul power pressure can not only improve the soul master's training talent, but also allow the soul master to quickly increase his level. If you have both gravity soul skills and soul power pressure, you can double temper the soul master's body and soul power, producing an effect of 1 + 1 greater than 2. After Ning Rongrong recorded Han Tao's results, he returned to his innocent appearance and ran towards the sect leader's mansion in a bounding motion. Hey! He sighed slightly. In fact, Han Tao had known for a long time that this part of the theory could not be maintained, but he did not expect Ning Fengji to act so quickly. However, I have gained an advanced level of distraction control method. That theory has no effect for the time being, but at least it gives me some psychological comfort. With the help of Brother Xiao Yuan, Han Tao raised his soul power level from 12 to 15 and his physical fitness from 10 to 16 in just half a year of training. it is worth noting that Han Tao's calculation of his own body is not accurate. He adopts a muscle strength evaluation scheme. When his physique is 1, he can lift a stone weighing 100 kilograms. With his current physique of 16, he can lift a stone weighing 1,600 kilograms. The Poseidon Trident weighs 108,000 kilograms. 54,000 kilograms is equivalent to 540 points of physical strength. The growth base of the clear sky hammer is 0.8. According to the calculation rules, 0.8 * 1 + 10 / 2 * 100, a physical level growth of 440 points. Including soul rings and soul bones, it should be about the same. The initial weight of the clear sky hammer is 500 kilograms, and the level 10 martial spirit of the clear sky hammer has a physical fitness of 9 to 11 and can be lifted. This is only an expression of strength. Its physical attributes also include many detailed factors such as coordination, explosive power, and resistance. Han Tao can make judgments about his own strength, but those details require professional instruments to test. But the reality is that he does not have those instruments now, and it is not worth the effort to make these subtle measurements. Instead of measuring accurately, it's better to spend time improving. 3 months have passed. What surprised Han Tao was that even though he gave him a way to practice quickly, Ning Fengji did not recall Xiao Yuan. You must know that in this theory, Xiao Yuan's gravity soul skill is the top priority, and it is a prerequisite for subverting common sense. The sect leader just asked Xiao Yuan to leave for a long time, and after verifying the correctness of Han Tao's results, he left it alone. In the past 3 months, with Xiao Yuan's help, Han Tao's soul power level reached level 19. At this moment, he fell into a barrier. Just like Yu Xiaojiang in the original work, after he reached this level, he found that no matter how hard he practiced, he could not break through to level 20. Han Tao, Ning Fengji, and Yu Xiaojiang are essentially the same. Why do they study theory? It's not because you can't break through, and you can't break through. You will look for reasons and want to understand why you can't break through. Is there any way to solve this innate shackles? If Han Tao was born with full soul power and top-level martial soul quality, he would not study the theory. He would just practice soul power without thinking. If he followed the steps, he would naturally achieve a breakthrough. Where do I need to study and research? Study shit. Han Tao has just faced a difficult situation at this moment, and he still has some courage and strength of a young man. When faced with difficulties, one naturally has to explore before giving up. What affects the soul power level? Will the total amount of soul power affect the soul power level? There is a very obvious flaw in this view, because a soul master's soul power and body are affected by the growth base of the martial soul. For the same level 20 soul master, the clear sky hammer has 3 times the soul power of blue silver grass. Therefore, there is no direct correlation between the total amount of soul power and the level of soul power. Will the meridians, soul power compatibility and width affect the soul power level? After a brief thought, this view was also rejected by Han Tao. Would those soul masters who are limited by their talents really accept their fate? Thinking about it, they won't. They have never given up on breakthroughs. They will continue to use the meditation method and wait for the opportunity to break through at a certain moment, but perhaps many soul masters grow old and die before this opportunity comes. However, persistent practice will slowly improve the soul master's cultivation talent, but it cannot break through the level barrier. Spiritual power. This is Han Tao's speculation, because he is not sure about the strength of other people's spiritual power. It is impossible to deduce from the changes in the upgrade whether there is a definition of the growth base of the soul master's spiritual power. Bloodline. Point 1 of the possibilities that affect the shackles of soul power level, but Han Tao is not able to change this part now, so let's put it aside for the time being. After listing all the possibilities, Han Tao closed his diary and walked out of the room. At this moment, the sun in the sky is still bright. Maybe, I should go back to the Nodding City Junior Soul Master Academy to have a look. Yu Xiaojiang, a great soul master stuck at level 29, a failed case of theoretical exploration, is undoubtedly the most worthy object of observation at present. After asking the sect master for a vacation, Han Tao embarked on the journey back home. This young man, please come in, do you need me to lead the way for you? that the doorman is still the same doorman. Seeing Han Tao's clothes clearly, he showed a flattering smile. Although Han Tao is now just an ordinary 19th level young soul master, he is still someone he cannot afford to offend. Thank you. Acquiescing to the guard's suggestion, Han Tao found the principal's office under his guidance. Principal Su, I'm back. Han Tao has only been in the Seven Treasures glazed sect for a short year, but his changes are extremely huge. Long-term exercise has made his body gradually stronger, and the study of auxiliary research books in the library has unexpectedly added a layer of scholarly atmosphere. From a distance, he actually looks like a rich young man. Teacher Li, you are here too. Principal Su adjusted his glasses on his nose, looked at Han Tao's face carefully, and dared to confirm after observing for a long time. Han Tao, you are back. Chapter 19, The Luck Hypothesis. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Just now, Teacher Li was still thanking you. How did you say that? Say Han Tao, and Han Tao will be here. The atmosphere in the principal's office was very cheerful. After Han Tao casually chatted with them for a few words, he went straight to the point. Master, have you met Yu Xiaojiang? Hearing Han Tao mention this name, Principal Su frowned slightly. Obviously, he had a very bad impression of this so-called master. He accepted an apprentice a few years ago. It seems that his name is Tang something. He is a work-study student. Oh, you know, I have a bad memory. He has been teaching his apprentice recently. You can find him in the office. Principal Su said lightly, turned his back, and ignored Han Tao. The meaning is obvious. This is an order to expel guests. After saying thank you, Han Tao once again showed courtesy to Principal Su like a student, and then left the principal's office. This so-called honorary teacher's office is actually a public area, but at this moment it is occupied by Yu Xiaojiang. Han Tao saw Yu Xiaojiang again, a middle-aged man, holding his head high, looking arrogant, as if he didn't care about anyone. Teacher Yu Xiaojiang, I heard that you have a very deep theoretical research on soul masters. Hearing Han Tao's compliment, Yu Xiaojiang felt a little happy in his heart, but just nodded without changing his expression. Can I ask you, when a soul master faces a level barrier, which field should he start from? Yu Xiaojiang's heart froze, but his face didn't change. He replied. There is no way to start. The innate soul power level is the decisive factor affecting the level limit. If your innate soul power is low, I suggest you give up this unrealistic idea. Yu Xiaojiang's answer was very confident. Obviously, he thought his theory would not be wrong. Then Master Yu Xiaojiang, have you ever practiced the secret method of improving your spiritual power? After speaking, Han Tao looked at Yu Xiaojiang's expression seriously, trying to see some clues from his eyes. The secret method of spiritual power, I don't understand what you are talking about. It was still a plain and arrogant answer. Okay, thank you, Master. After a few casual perfunctory words, he left the honorary teacher office. This conversation with the master seemed simple, but Han Tao obtained a lot of key information. Based on Yu Xiaojiang's expression, he probably had not practiced the secret method of mental power. Why ask this? Because if Yu Xiaojiang had practiced the secret method of mental power, but he did not break through, then it can be ruled out that the strength of mental power would affect the level of soul power. Furthermore, Han Tao can infer that the Spirit Hall and the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex sect also do not have spiritual skills. If the Spirit Hall and the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex sect have the secret method of mental power, then Bibi Dong and Lu Erlong, the two strange love brains, will definitely teach Yu Xiaojiang. Yu Xiaojiang does not know the physical training method. This point has long been presented in the original work, and he only lets his disciples run for exercise, so the result is obvious. However, based on Yu Xiaojiang's muscle appearance, Han Tao found that Yu Xiaojiang's physical attributes far exceed those of ordinary great soul masters. Could it be that Luo Sanpeo's growth base is very high, and it is not inferior to the Seven Treasures Linglong Tower? What does it mean if the assumption is true? Yu Xiaojiang's physique, soul power, and mental power are far superior to those of the same level soul masters, but he still cannot break through level 29, represents these three basic attributes, not the limit of soul power level breakthrough. Han Tao did not dare to speak ill of the master, because he was not sure whether what he said today would be reported to Bibi Dong's desk tomorrow. What's more, at this moment, Han Tao did not dare to do anything unfavorable to Tang San. As the protagonist of Douluo continent, Tang San has very strong luck, great luck, great luck. Do you know what this means? As long as you have unfavorable behavior towards people with great luck, you will be targeted by luck, those who are not strong enough, not calculating enough, and dare to snatch the protagonist's opportunity. I am afraid that they will not survive 2 chapters of supporting roles. At that time, Tang San was several big stages older, but he was still killed by the King of Hell. The life and death arena of the dark demon evil god Tiger has brought back life forms, so why can't a broken hidden weapon bring back life? Han Tao didn't believe that there was no role played by luck. At first, Han Tao didn't believe in the existence of luck, but reality has given him the answer. In the distance, he heard the sound of the chaotic cloak hammer twice, and then he had some understanding of the acupoints. This is not contaminated by cause and effect, right? It seems that it is completely uncontaminated by cause and effect, but what happened later? Later, when Han Tao was hunting for soul rings, a 400-year-old blue-silver grass happened to appear. Han Tao, who is level 10, has only a physical fitness of 3.1. What can he use to absorb a 400-year-old soul ring? Therefore, as a supporting role, a small role, when seeking opportunities for big people, you must be cautious and cautious, conceal yourself, plan everything, and then act brazenly, and never give the enemy time to resist. Don't give fate time to resist. Let's get back to the point. Han Tao bought a few iron farm tools in Nodding City and gave them to the old village chief of Shinghun village as a reward for his long-term support. He had a meal with brother Xiao Qinyu, and then returned to the 7 Treasures glazed sect. Han Tao, that the guard in front of the sect recognized Han Tao. He had a deep impression of Han Tao. Last year, the miserable child came to the 7 Treasures glazed sect with his passion, but he didn't expect that a year later, Han Tao's image and status had changed dramatically. A lot of things happened after you left. I heard that the royal family of the Tiando Empire will come to visit the sect in 2 days. Oh, Han Tao really didn't know this, but when he mentioned the Tiando Empire, he couldn't help but think of the young man, Xue Feng, who had a deep understanding of the sect's rules. Yes, the empire and the sect will reach some kind of cooperation this time. You may not know it when you first came. A large part of our 7 Treasures glazed sect's funds come from the cooperation with the Tiando Empire. The guard kept explaining to Han Tao. It is said that this time, a big man will come. Who? Han Tao asked. The eldest prince of the Tiando Empire, the future heir, Xue Qinghe. Han Tao nodded. This is really a big man. According to the guards, Xue Qinghe and Ning Fengji have no relationship at present. I think the future master-disciple relationship will be determined by the cooperation between the empire and the sect this time. Ha! Han Tao suddenly thought of something and seemed to find it interesting. After paying respect to the mountain last year, Han Tao stayed in the sect. Although Ning Fengji did not explicitly say that he would accept him as a disciple, everyone in the sect regarded him as the sect master's disciple. This time Xue Qinghe came to pay respect to the master. Maybe he will call me senior brother. That with a smile on his face, Han Tao plunged into the library and began to learn new theories. I have fallen behind in my studies due to the days of leave. If I don't work hard, I will have to rely on the efforts of the elders guarding the hall. If the elders guarding the hall are unwilling to work hard, they can only go into the small dark room and sing tears behind the iron window with Ning Tian. Chapter 20 Senior Brother. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Xue Qinghe, the eldest prince of the Tiando Empire, just like his identity, his talent is peerless. At the same time that Han Tao joined the Qibao glazed sect, he successfully broke through the Soul King. Han Tao had seen Douluo continent and knew the prince's hidden identity, but it had nothing to do with him. The battle between the Tiando Empire and the Wuhuan Palace was truly a battle of life and death, but what does it have to do with myself, a little 19th level soul master? Not getting close or getting involved is Han Tao's code of conduct, but with his current status, it is difficult not to have contact with the prince. Han Tao, sect leader Ning wants to see you for something. One sunny afternoon, Han Tao's practice was interrupted. in the distance, Ning Tian's voice came from far away, and immediately disappeared. Mr. Wulong is always like this. After completing the mission of the sect leader, he will go to the foot washing club in Tiando Kingdom for a wonderful and enjoyable trip. All right. Han Tao strode into the sect master's mansion, and soon he met the legendary Crown Prince. Let me introduce to you, this is the Crown Prince of the Tiando Empire, Xue Qinghe. Ning Fengji's face looked a little strange. This was the first time Han Tao saw such a strange look on his face. It seems that the sect leader's book Emotions and Anger Invisible in Color is obviously not good at cultivation. Hello. Xue Qinghe greeted lightly. Your Highness the Crown Prince. Under the feudal empire system, there are very strict rules, including that commoners, nobles, and royal families need to exercise corresponding etiquette when meeting the prince or emperor, and no mistakes can be made. Humble from top to bottom, the king and his ministers have their own logic and self-consistency. Han Tao, as a civilian, treated the Crown Prince with the appropriate courtesy. At this moment, he was no longer a disciple of the Qibao glazed sect, but an ordinary citizen of the Tiando Empire. If you don't have strength, you have to follow the rules. This was Xiefeng's reminder to him. Brother Han Tao, you don't have to be so outspoken. Maybe from now on, you will be my junior brother. Xue Qinghe smiled casually. When Han Tao was half bowing, he interrupted his salute. The timing of the interruption was very clever. It happened to be halfway through the etiquette. The first half was to maintain the dignity of the royal family, and the second half was to reflect his courtesy and corporal style. Using the rules of the empire to win the favor of others is done with great proficiency. Ning Fengji looked at Xue Qinghe and then at Han Tao. How could he not understand the rules and regulations in the empire? Han Tao, this is the Qibao glazed sect, there are no cumbersome etiquette. Ning Fengji opened his mouth to teach Han Tao a lesson. It seems that this sentence is to teach Han Tao a lesson, but in fact it is to defend Han Tao. With his words, Xue Qinghe can no longer use rules to suppress Han Tao's behavior. Han Tao nodded and accepted. Immediately, Ning Fengji faced Han Tao and continued to tell the story. Just today, the Tiando Empire and the Qibao glazed sect have reached a cooperation, and this His Highness Xue Qinghe will be my first disciple. Han Tao, you have been coming to Qibao glazed sect for a year, but I have never accepted you as a disciple. We just happened to do it together today. Han Tao's face showed a hint of surprise. Really, that although he was the one who came here first, now he has to become Xue Qinghe's junior brother, which is very unfair, but for the weak, there is no fairness in itself. The most important thing for people is to recognize themselves. Han Tao did not show dissatisfaction, nor did he dare to show dissatisfaction. If he became a senior brother, it would be a violation of the rules and would destroy the majesty of the Tiando Empire's royal family, which would lead to someone causing trouble for him. Of course it's true. Seeing Han Tao's statement, Ning Fengji smiled, as if he had completely forgotten something. After becoming a disciple, Han Tao naturally became Ning Fengji's second disciple. Brother. Han Tao cupped his hand. Second brother. Xue Qinghe responded with a smile. Junior brother Han, I came in a hurry this time, so I didn't prepare any gifts. This prince's token should be regarded as a meeting gift from my eldest brother. Xue Qinghe took out the token symbolizing the prince's identity from the soul guide and handed it to his junior brother. Han Tao did not refuse. This prince token was just a status symbol, but it had great practical significance. With this token, the Tiando Empire's library will not place any restrictions on you. You can also enter the Tiando Royal Soul Master Academy, and you can use the Mimicry training field inside directly, but if you want to hold the token and enroll in the Soul Master Academy, you really can't do it. You must practice favoritism and cheating. The Soul Master Academy and His Highness the Crown Prince are shameless and don't know how to use unspoken rules, so don't blame this token for being useless, and with this token, even the Pope of Wuhuan Palace will give you a favor. Thank you, brother. He put away the token and thanked his brother Han Tao. After solving the trivial matters in life, Han Tao returned to his dormitory and began to isolate himself. Damn, this is disgusting. Level 19, that the 19-level pass is like a natural chasm in front of Han Tao. Even with all kinds of means, it is difficult to escape this majestic mountain. Junior brother Han, have you encountered any difficulties? Seeing Han Tao's sad face, Xueqinghe walked over and asked curiously. Aha. Han Tao originally thought it was Xiao Yuan who came, but he didn't expect it was his newly appointed eldest brother. Why, you encounter difficulties and you don't want to share them with your elder brother? Han Tao shook his head and replied, you can't solve it. Deep in Xueqinghe's heart, there is an extreme arrogance, which is brought to him by the martial soul. The God-level martial soul represents the panel data that crushes all soul masters, and this is what he is born with. Why not tell me? Xueqinghe is very confident. He controls the resources of the two largest forces, the Wuhuan Hall and the Tiando Empire. He believes that there is no difficulty that he cannot solve. Han Tao shook his head helplessly, stuck at the level. The current soul power is stuck at level 19 and can't break through. As he spoke, Han Tao was a little dejected. The few strokes of genius are the other side that ordinary people can hardly reach in their lifetime. If physique, soul power, and mental power are not the shackles of level breakthrough, then there are only two possibilities left, martial soul quality and bloodline talent, and there is almost no solution to these two. Brother, I really don't have any way. Xueqinghe shirked. He knew Yu Xiaojiang, and he had looked through the information of the Spirit Hall and created the 10-core competitiveness of Spirit Masters. Such a powerful theoretical master would be restricted by his talent, let alone himself. How could he give a solution if he didn't understand the theory at all? Level 20, awakening is level 20, how can I know what to do if I'm stuck at level 19? A hidden, faint sense of superiority rose from his heart. Han Tao waved his hand and ignored the consolation of this kind brother. He decided to think of a solution himself. From the original book, it seems that only the fairy grass can save Han Tao, but if the fairy grass is used to break through, what is the meaning of studying the theory by himself? This means that all his efforts, all his thinking, exploration and achievements are not as good as talent and luck. This is a denial of his past and an absolute blow to future exploration, but these are not the key. The most important thing is that the fairy grass, as the greatest opportunity in Douluo continent, is closely related to luck. There are plans and ideas, but they cannot be obtained, which is the biggest problem.